Welcome back to Sci-Fi Book Trek.
Ba, 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 ba.
Okay, guys, today we're dealing with the Star Trek novel, How Much for Just the Planet? It was released in 1987, and it's based on the Kirk era of Star Trek. Several mentions are made of the Organians and the Organian Treaty within the book, so it's based after the events of the episode Errand of Mercy.
Yes.
What did you think?
Very, 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 very odd.
Yes. I will not disagree with that assessment. Don't get me wrong. I think it's. I'll put my cards on the table now. It was a really enjoyable read.
Yeah.
I had fun throughout the whole thing, but it is not a typical Star Trek novel.
Oh no! If you're expecting Star Trek, you might want to give this one a miss. But no, I did like most of it. There were some bits which I felt dragged, but I saw what it was doing. I mean, overall, you liked it.
Yes, I did like it, but it was, as you pointed out, it was weird. But by the time you're into the book, you can kind of see where it's going, and you don't really care because you're kind of having fun with the story.
Yeah.
I would liken it probably to what they have been doing with the recent series Lower Decks. It's that sort of story. This genuinely wouldn't be out of place as a Lower Deck story or a version of it. It wouldn't be out of place at all.
I've not seen it, so good. For me, I was thinking it felt like Star Trek crashed headlong into a sort of Terry Pratchett novel.
Yeah.
Or, maybe not as like Terry Pratchett pinnacle stuff, but like the more lower stuff. And it didn't have like a love child. They just crashed headlong into each other, and you're looking at the debris. And there's this weird Al impersonator dancing through it every so often.
But that's
the impression I got.
That's also part of the charm.
Oh yes,
it's almost like you've got your characters, you've got Kirk, you've got Spock, you've got your McCoy, and they're trying to play it straight, and that makes it almost.
Yeah. I mean, McCoy does come off unbelievably grumpy.
Comes off unbelievably grumpy. I have got notes here that are like, he's woken. It's like literally the first chapter. It seems like he woke up drunk. That's not a spoiler.
That's in the first few pages. But yeah, there's a lot of, let's say, characters who are, for want of a better word, completely mad.
Yes. Absolutely. I completely agree with that sentiment.
Completely, utterly mad.
I would also say that the characterization of the Klingons isn't, certainly not the TNG Klingons.
No.
And definitely not the way that the Klingons have been characterized in the films, in the TOS films. There's a certain...
I don't know. I'm not sure I fully agree with that, but carry on with your thought.
There's a certain amount of, I mean, from the experience that I've had with TOS Klingons, there is elements of it, but I also...
Well, I was thinking from the films, I was thinking the only thing that struck me as mostly weird was how well they get along with other Federation crew.
Yes.
That was
without going into spoiler
Yes.
territory, and that's where I'm sort of holding back on my full categorization. There are, I mean, that's another thing. There are certain elements of the story where there has the Klingons and the Federation have been at war, and they mention the Organian Treaty several times, so there's still hostility.
Yeah,
but there's also elements of it that show that there's been definitely a lot more, not cooperation. It's almost like
a neutral peace.
Yeah, but
and like yeah, we want to fight each other, but we can't because our mom says no.
Yes, but a lot of that
And so,
was,
yeah.
I mean, there's the Organian Treaty is again very much mentioned as a major thing, but
yeah,
it's surprising that even with the Organian Treaty in effect and some of the commentary that's made in the book about how, like you say, there is a hostility there, but between the two crews, the hostility is much more neutral than you'd expect of the characterization in the show. I mean, I believe there's a point where in the Errand of Mercy episode, there's the point where I think it's Kirk says, "Looks like there's not going to be any war," and Kor goes, "That's a shame. It would have been glorious." But there's no begrudging respect or, you know.
Well, no,
it's.
I mean, for a Klingon saying that is respect. You could argue otherwise, you know, if a Klingon didn't think the opponent was worthy, you wouldn't class it as a worthy war.
I suppose. I think I'm mischaracterizing what I'm saying.
Well,
I'm trying to sort of compare it to that byplay between Kirk and Kor is not the byplay that you get between the characters of Kirk and Captain Caden. The Klingon captain. There's a completely different dynamic, and he doesn't quite feel like the same type of Klingons that even you see in the original series.
No, I think that was done so the story played out weighted. Also, yeah, it does feel like the Federation Klingon are getting on far more than they have. It feels like this book was set after Star Trek 6. Like a number of years after, even though it's not.
No.
It's supposed to be many years before. But as far as the more relaxed nature of Klingons hanging out with Federation and vice versa.
Yeah, because the two...
They don't see each other as enemies.
Well,
I mean, in part, but not. Oh, yes, let's go have a beer together.
Which is...
And discuss about our ships and stuff like that. It's not like true enemies, you know.
It's almost like high school adversarial.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I made a point, actually, that some of the antics in this do come off as almost like 90s high school drama. Like, you can imagine this being part of Saved by the Bell.
I think that's a definite reason, because they're sort of pulling from similar sources. And this does wear its sources on its sleeve. Sometimes there's like a reference, a sentence.
Yes.
It can be very, referencing all sorts of things.
when I went and researched some of the after our conversation about the Turpits and me not having any clue about that ship whatsoever, I kind of went into this with an idea of researching bits and pieces that I didn't know.
You'll fall down a hole.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Well, the name of the ship, the Prospector ship.
Yes.
And if you know it, that's a definite reference as to where that plot is going. But, when I'm first reading through it, it was like, interesting.
Yeah, there are many references in there. I think that's probably the first reference. The name of the Prospecting Federation starship.
Mm.
But there are other references. Like, some are very highbrow. Some are, I wouldn't say lowbrow, but not as highbrow as, referencing Chekhov's The Cherry Orchards.
Mm. Gilbert and Sullivan.
Yeah, there's Gilbert and Sullivan references. There's also House of Usher. I do like it. But yeah, there's all sorts of odd references, either fully stated or
hinted.
Yeah, hinted at.
It's not subtle though.
No. I mean, what? Now, maybe you can answer this.
Go on.
I was thinking, because I've never read the book, but is this kind of like Ready Player One, but for, say, 1940s England? References a few others. Because when it became very reference heavy, I was thinking, is this what Ready Player One's like?
I would say it's actually less reference heavy than Ready Player One. Ready Player One
less.
Oh yes. Ready Player One
they like refer a bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Ready Player One is built on just a framework of reference.
Wait. Yeah. Okay. We'll go over some of it in spoilers, but yeah. Oh. Try to feel about that. But anyway, back to the book.
Does that mean we're going to read Ready Player One at one point?
We might. Hopefully, I might have died by then, but we might.
Okay.
But let us know in the comments. God, like everyone's going to let us know. But anyway, the characters, because this is a very, very large amount of characters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it almost feels like, what is it? It's mad world. Where it's just groups of characters and we're just bouncing back and forth between.
Well, just based on my notes, I mean, I've got nothing for our main Enterprise characters. They're pretty much intact and follow on from their show counterparts. And the other ones, there's the crew of the crew of the Jefferson Randolph Smith.
Oh, yeah. Which were pretty much minor characters.
They kind of are introduced at the beginning of the story and then disappear for most of it.
I thought he was going to mention the crew of the Fire Blossom.
Yeah, the crew of the Fire Blossom I got. But you can see how many flipping characters I've got on my notes list.
Oh, yes. Well, I made it, there was about 6 groups which we follow throughout the book. 6 sort of individual groups which are made up of either 2 people or 4 people.
Mm. But they tend to be a mix of the Federation and Klingon.
It tends to be half Klingon, half Federation.
Yes.
And you just bounce between all of them at certain times. So you do get a lot of characters. I would say they're mostly fleshed out for how little we spend with them.
Mm.
I mean, like, I know, who's attracted to who's, some of their idiosyncrasies, some of the things that, might be bad, some of the things that might be good personality traits and stuff like that. So you do get to know some of, well, most of them. I would argue there's a few of the Klingons that just are generic Klingon cardboard cutout people who I can't differentiate from.
I
But
got more appreciation for the characterization of the Klingon characters.
yeah, but some
Because
get more than
obviously,
others.
yes.
That's what I was saying.
Certainly, there's the one character, the Klingon officer Proke, who spends most of his time with
Uhura.
Uhura. Yes, he gets a lot of
Yes.
effort put in. But I mean,
Well, then again, he doesn't really come across as Klingon.
No, not at all.
I kept on forgetting he was Klingon at points.
But this is why I say the Klingons don't come across as Klingons. They come off as more like a rival
Federation. Yeah.
I mean, the diet. And you would think that that's a weird thing to be pulling up. It'll make sense later.
Yes.
It didn't bother me. It was just one of those weird idiosyncrasy. That's probably the wrong word.
Oh, well, I know what you mean. Yeah. See, I didn't mind it because I probably didn't notice it as much. I was just so relieved that when they were sitting down drinking and stuff, especially at the start with the Federation, I was so unbelievably relieved that not everyone drinks coffee in the morning.
Yes.
Which I'm so sick of reading in every bloody book. Oh, I've just got to get my coffee. Oh no, we've got to make it Star Trek. Oh, for my Vactigino.
Vactigino doesn't feature, though?
I know it doesn't, but it did in some of the Star Trek books. Because it's like, oh no, we can't just keep on saying coffee. We have to have Ractigino.
But I believe
it's just...
the first time that Ractigino comes up is Deep Space Nine, yes. I think.
But they did mention it in the Destiny books.
Yes.
Quite a lot. And coffee, and it's just like, oh my God, there is more drinks available than coffee. But yeah, I was so impressed that they actually had all sorts of different drinks and different foods. And it was just lovely. It felt not normal, but more natural than some of the food or getting drink scenes in later novels and more current novels. It felt like it was there because it was sort of dry. It was
It's there because it's natural rather than it's there because of member berries.
Well, yeah. Well, no, it's there because it's natural, and there's some part of the plot in it, but also it's not there to show, oh look, we're humanizing these characters who are human. We're making them look like and sound like you. You like coffee in the morning. Everyone does. And so does your favourite character. Hey! That's what most modern stuff comes across as to me. And this just felt nice. But no, that's in the opening pages. So that's not really a spoiler. That's overall, I'm not sure the book had an overall theme or maybe something it was trying to say about, farces. But other than that,
I started off with thinking that the theme of the book was going to be exploring the similarities between two very, very different civilizations.
Yes.
But the longer that it got into the book, the more that I started to realize that is not really the theme. I think it's just about telling. It's an amusing comedic story.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he was going for. There's no real deeper
Meaning.
meanings
It's
other
just entertainment.
than and
And
like I say, it was nice. It was actually a refreshing palate cleanser with some recognizable characters, some new characters, and like I say, it wouldn't have been out of place as a Lower Deck story. And that comes from me as someone who doesn't necessarily like the new Trek.
But you liked this.
Yes, I like that. I actually like Lower Decks. Lower Decks grew on me. The first few episodes
like a growth.
Fucking dire. But Lower Decks actually grew on me, and this is another one, I suppose, that you could say it's not taking itself particularly seriously, and it's not a bad story because it doesn't try to suck you into the idea that it's supposed to be hard sci-fi or that it's trying to tell a message. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And it's enjoyable fun. Admittedly, it's a little bit of a...
knows what it's doing, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit bait and switchy when you're like at the start and it's, oh, this looks like a typical Enterprise episode. And then as you start getting more involved in the story, it's like, this isn't typical, but I'm enjoying myself too much to stop reading. It's
a nice, like, settle in. Right, bring on the first clown.
Yes.
Settle in. Bring on the second clown. And before you know it, you're standing at the centre of a circus.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, I can deal with this, I guess.
I didn't come in to watch the circus, but
while I'm here,
it's kind of, yeah, this is amusing in a way that I didn't expect.
I mean, I will say, I don't know about you, but for me, there was times I was reading this, and I would occasionally put it down and just ask myself, what am I reading? What am I reading? What am I reading? And then carry on reading it.
For me, it wasn't what am I reading, but it was a case of, what the I just put it down, had to laugh for a good couple of minutes. I'm just pissing myself laughing. And then I'm like, that happened. Let's pick it back up.
I mean, it's like encapsulated in itself, its own sort of pocket, almost universe. But yeah, it is very odd and fun. But that's what it's going for.
Yeah. It's definitely got a positive recommendation from me. I would definitely read this. I would probably read it again. Not quite so soon.
No,
but
there's parts I would reread so soon. But yeah, I would have to give it some time before I fully read it again. But I did like it.
But now, having done the research as well and done some looking into the references and some of the other bits and pieces, going back.
That's, for me, some of the references I already knew. So I was instantly like, I knew. So I was picking up quite a few, but there are so many references that a lot will just fly over your head.
Yeah.
So
unless you're
don't worry about that. There's a lot would, but even if you're very like
steeped in,
well, it goes over many different topics and stuff, so it's very hard to pinpoint it down. But even so, there are a number of things that will just fly by you. Because some are small references, some are very in your face references you might not fully get.
But yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think that covers it. I highly recommended it.
I highly recommend it as well. Read it. It's a good, fun book.
Yeah, you have to know going into it that it's not going to be, you know, I don't want to say Star Trek because it is Star Trek, but it's not going to be a Star Trek story you expect.
Mm.
It's very much goes off on a tangent for fun, and you just have to be along for the ride. But it takes you by the hand and it drags you there. So it is very nice.
Yes. I too, fully recommend it. Read the book if you've got a few hours. It's definitely one of those ones. As a Star Trek fan, I enjoyed it. It's not hard sci-fi. It's not anywhere like what you'd expect. It's more, like I say, lower decks type humor. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, lower decks type humor with references from the 40s.
Yes. But yeah, give it a go. I think you'll enjoy. Okay.
Yep. I think that's it. Thank you for joining us for this review, and next week we'll be doing the spoiler part of this. So look forward to that.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Like, please, if you're an author and you've put the word coffee, rip it out and replace it with any other drink. Please, for the love of God.
He's British.
No, it's just, it's not even that. It's just, I'm sick of fucking reading that. Oh, I have to have my first coffee in the morning. It gives me the kick to get. It's like, yes, I understand you're a fucking struggling author sitting in fucking Starbucks writing on your Apple fucking Macintosh. I do not fucking care. I don't want to be, this is how I relate to the character because he drinks coffee and he has to have 2 shots a day, otherwise he hasn't got the energy to get his ass out of fucking bed. No. Stop drinking coffee. Just stop.